Welcome to Insight Man's Entertainment News and Reviews. Today we'll be speaking about Stargirl. Did you know that Jerry Siegel co-created Skyman / The Star-Spangled Kid, the Sylvester Pemberton version, better known for being co-creator of Superman? Also, did you know that Jack Knight should have been the Starman before Stargirl? Sylvester Pemberton was not the Starman before that handed down the torch. Due to copyright issues with the character Jack Knight, they were unable to use him in the Stargirl TV series, and so they used this Sylvester Pemberton instead. In the season finale, we were left off with the introduction of one of my favorite characters from the DC universe, for villain-wise anyway, would be the Shade. He's not your typical bad guy. He's not maniacal. He's not, I'm going to take over the world type person. No. He's actually got some good qualities about him, and I'll explain it more. He's even been a mentor to one of the Night Children. He has fought other villains and teamed up with Superman on occasion. He was introduced as a major Flash villain originally, but he later on became more of a, not an anti-hero, but not a bad guy either. At least not wholeheartedly. His was more about money and stuff like that. Now, Mike McLeod was the first actor to play him. Daniel Morgan will be taking over the role for Season 2 of Stargirl. A dramatic actor that I think will work well with the role of the Shade, and I can't wait to see his playing of the role. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Shade. He's going to be a major villain antagonist within the Season 2 of the series, I believe, along with Eclipso. But I do not think that he is the main baddie. Maybe Eclipso will end up being the main bad in the end, but we will see. And I hope that they do introduce his more ambiguous morality. I mean, you can't really tell. He doesn't just wear his heart on his sleeve, you know. The question is, which version of the Shade will they use? Pre-Crisis Shade, who's not in control of immortality, like the later Shade that was reinvented in 1994, was given the ability, basically, of immortality. I mean, he's always been able to control shadows, and his past has always been linked to mystery and wonder and the occult. But as I said, he is linked to one of the Starmen, and I think that might also play into the series. Since Jack isn't in the series, Jack Knight, they put Sylvester Pemberton in there, which I'm not quite sure that is Sylvester Pemberton yet. And if it is, it's not the one that was beat up earlier in the premiere episode, because that I don't get it unless he lived or that was a fake fight. I just don't see it. I think his ties to the Starman family and the Knight family should play into it. Maybe they'll connect it to Sylvester Pemberton's family instead, or or the people that they currently have within the cast of Stargirl. We do know that Mary Pemberton, the sister, is the mother of one of the characters in the series. So we do have a Pemberton in the series, even though his last name isn't Pemberton, obviously. I mean, he was killed off, sort of. I mean, his mind's still within his dad, I believe. But I don't know if his body's completely gone, per se. I mean, you do have the Dragon King there, and he likes to experiment. Maybe he's on ice. We did have Icicle there. Who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see if he makes a return at some point or in some form. The main thing they ended off with was Eclipso. Now, he is a major bad guy. And if you want to talk supervillains, He's got powers that, I mean, eventually, after being retconned and made more powerful, the more current Eclipso is almost, I mean, he can fight Superman. I mean, this guy is strong. And the Shade might have to help team up to stop Eclipso. Who knows? I mean, we've also got Solomon Grundy running around. I mean, he could end up teaming up with the new incarnation of the Justice Society. I'm not sure. I mean, Grundy hasn't always been per se a bad guy. He just more does what he wants. he's a creature of the swamp, you know, or the oil pit. My bad. I really do hope that we get to find out more about the ending when Sylvester Pemberton just pops up at the door out of nowhere. I mean, that's a little crazy, don't you think? I mean, you're supposed to be gone, buddy. You're not supposed to be around. And that's why he could be Will Payton. Because Will Payton is one of the Starmen, and he was able to disguise himself with his abilities. I don't know if it was like light refraction, like he was able to bend light some way that it would change his appearance to others. I mean, that would make sense to me, I guess. I think they've used that with other characters. But yeah, he can actually disguise himself. So that would make sense. I mean, he could actually be the guy who had perished earlier in the series. He took his place, the other Starman's place, or this could be Will Payton. This could be Will Payton now showing up at the door. We're not sure, but I'm sure we'll get answers this coming season. I do hope that they bring in the other Starmen, because time travel is a part of the Starman comics. I mean, it happens. They're able to do things that are pretty cool, and some of their abilities, some of them don't even use a staff or have a different version of a staff, like an alien version of the staff, and some of them don't even need it for the powers. I'm really hoping that we get more in depth on the Starman character and legend as well, not just the Stargirl, who was actually not even called Stargirl in the original. She was actually Stripesy, just like Pat Dugan. As you can see above, Will Payton's abilities are flight, super strength, superhuman durability, and limited shapeshifting. And that's what I was talking about. He can actually limitedly shapeshift, which would make him a perfect character for showing up in the series and being Sylvester Pemberton, either the one that had already fought or the one that has just shown up at the door. Now, why? I'm not sure. Maybe he's there to help train her, but it just don't make sense to me, because he wouldn't have to hide who he was unless he's trying to get more. I mean, maybe they don't know who Will Pemberton is. I'm not Pemberton. Will Payton is. So, I mean, Pat Dugan at least, and he wants more of a recognition. So maybe it's quicker to get closer to Courtney. But I'm sure we'll find out what's going on. We also got to see her father in the series, and her dad in the comics is actually a member of the Royal Flush Gang, and he's, I think, number two of clubs or something like that, which isn't a big number, so he's not like the king of the Royal Flush Gang, but that would make him a villain. So I'm hoping we get to see more of that. And we kind of got to see how shady he was when he came there and introduced himself for his daughter. He was only there for his own reasons. He wasn't there to make amends and to be a father to Courtney. No, he wasn't. But I also think they might, since they're not going to go directly off the comics, they might tie him into something else as well. Maybe he's somehow related to the Pembertons. Maybe somehow he's related to the Paytons. I'm not sure. Or the Knights, I guess. We will definitely see. Here's a question for the audience. Do you think that's the real Sylvester Pemberton? Do you think it's a supervillain pretending to be him? Or a hero pretending to be him? For that reason, I don't know, but there's probably some good reason behind it, I would assume. Or do you think it's actually him and he's come there to help train her? I guess we'll see. But leave a comment in the comments below and tell me, who do you think he is? I mean, they did introduce Eclipso, and one of the Starmen supposedly died fighting him. I can't remember if it was Sylvester Pemberton or the Will Payton version, but one of them definitely did die fighting him, and I'm hoping that that can be tied into the show as well in some way, shape, or form, but I guess we'll see. You know, I always like Easter eggs and everything. I love when they do fan service and not when they try to clown or make fun of the fans, which CW loves to do. They love to do fan service. They love Easter eggs, and that's one of the reasons I love CW. I mean, they're not the highest, most expensive shows in the world to make, no, but they are great at what they do, and that's make me like them very much. I mean, Flash is one of my favorite DC or any TV series for superheroes or comics out there right now. I mean, for that kind of genre. I mean, there are other superhero shows like that were in comics, like The Preacher. I like Preacher. Totally different type of series though, and not the same kind of hero campy type stuff, which is fine. Like I said, I love Flash, and it's more campy, yes, but that's because that's how Flash is as a character, or at least Barry Allen as a character. Now, I am sure we will see more of Sam Curtis in the series, and what he will be doing, I don't know. He did in the comics, spoiler warning, I don't know if you read it or not, or if you intend to read it, but he did end up dying, and the Shade, I believe, is the one that told Courtney about it. So that could also play into it. I memean, he could end up into the series and dying. Why introduce the guy just to have him run away? Unless that was just to make you be like, hey, it's not Sylvester Pemberton that's her father. This guy is really her dad. Let's show it. We subverted your expectations, and now we're back to the way the comics really should be, or the series is more based off of. With this new season, we could also see a new Jesse Quick. Maybe not the same one who played her before, but Jesse Quick was a main part of Stargirl comics. So don't be surprised if a new Jesse Quick has been cast, or even if the old Jesse Quick returns, which is, I don't think, likely, but they might recast her. There's other characters that we could also see show up, but I would have to say I think she is highly likely eventually to show up in the series. And now that it is fully a CW show, I expect to see some other superheroes show up, like maybe Superman, Flash, some of the legends. Maybe they'll also tie it into the Green Lantern Corps series that will be coming out on HBO Max sometime later. I'm not sure on the release date on that right now. I will be making a video on that as well later, as well as the Superman and Lois TV series that will be coming out on CW. We know they love crossover events, so I am sure that they will get a crossover eventually. Or they're building to a major crossover. You might not get a big team up right away, but you will definitely see at least one or two characters from a show or series on each other's shows. I mean, that's just what CW does, and I think they do it well. Now, earlier we touched a little bit on Eclipso, and the last scene that they showed in the series was basically hinting at, here comes Eclipso. He is a major villain, and like I said earlier, he could end up being the major villain for season 3, or maybe for the other villains to team up with the good guys, the heroes, to defeat him, because he doesn't have the same... He doesn't want to make things better for people at all. I mean, he is God's wrath. The first God's wrath. Later, Spectre was made to replace him. But he, in comic-wise, he is God's wrath. The first God's wrath. And then later, Spectre is created. Which also could bring Green Arrow's Spectre back in, which would be cool. I would love to see some Amel I mean, he is an awesome actor, and I thought he did very well with the Arrowverse, and now that they're trying to call it the CW verse, but it's still Arrowverse to me, or at least Flashverse, because that's the main series now. But yeah, we could really see that character show up in the series. I mean, it's very highly possible, and I'm looking forward to it. Again, with Sylvester Pemberton showing up at the end, I do have a feeling that it will tie into the Eclipso storyline as well. And maybe Will Payton. That is just my opinion because he can shapeshift, and it has no evidence yet as of now. On to some more news. We have the upcoming series The Last of Us. The Game of Thrones actress Bella Ramsey will be starring as the main character, Ellie. I've played the game. Awesome game. I loved it. And I can't wait for this series to come out. I can't wait. I repeat. It's going to be cool. And I like her. She was also in the series His Dark Materials. It wasn't a very big part, but she did have a part in it. And I did think she did very well. I think she'll do very well as the main lead in this series as well. Now, remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think of Bella Ramsey being cast in the upcoming series The Last of Us? Do you think she fits the role? And thank you. Have a wonderful day. Again, like, subscribe, leave a comment. This has been the Insights Man, and that's a fact. And check out some of my other videos on Entertainment's Insights Man.